A long time existing camp, people may remember that's where the terrible massacre happened in the 80s by the right-wing phalange. Apart from me, there had never been in an actual refugee camp, as it's so named. But I was anxious to do it because when Enda Kelly was quizzed in the Dáil a day after he returned from the meeting that signed off on the EU-Turkey deal, there were a lot of us, a lot of TDs on the left particularly, who were very dissatisfied with it and were calling on him to go back and remove the signature of the Irish state and the Irish people and the Irish government from that deal. He had no right to speak on our behalf, and he certainly wasn't doing it in our name. But one of the questions we asked him was why, when the government had made a commitment to take 4,000 Syrian refugees, to date they had only taken, to that day they had only taken 117, which amounted to a handful of families. And his response, like most things, sometimes I don't know if it's that because he's 40 years there and he's an expert at obfuscation, or he's just thick. And maybe it's a bit of both. But his response is amazing because he says, they don't want to come here, they only want to go to Germany and Sweden where they have family. Sure, they don't express an interest in Ireland, but the truth is very different, and I found that out when I went to Greece. I suspected at the time because, having been to Syria on a number of occasions, I was well aware that most people in Syria have no idea where Ireland is, who we are, what we are, or where we are on the map, or that we exist. And indeed, this is the case. Anyway, leave Enda Kelly to one side for 1 minute, leave it to one side forever, it'd be great. But when I got over to Greece, I ended up staying with a guy who was leading the organisation similar to what this organisation represents, a coalition against fascism and racism in Athens. And Petros was very informative and had done a lot of work with immigrants from Bangladesh, and had done a huge amount of work with immigrants from Syria, and that had come through the islands. So I decided, he convinced me not to try and get to the Macedonian border because they had been emptying it, gradually emptying it since the EU-Turkey deal was done, and transferred most of the immigrants and most of the refugees to the city of Athens and to the city of Thessaloniki. So, as it happened, the day I left was when they raided the Macedonian border, and your description of the CRS is very similar to the type of approach that the Greek government took to the Macedonian border when they actually destroyed the camp there and emptied it, because they went in heavily armed in riot gear and shields with big batons and water cannon and rubber bullets, and we really don't know the full truth about what actually happened there. But there's one thing we can be convinced of, is that the refugees who'd sat on the Macedonian border in muck and shit for months and in misery with their families did not give up without a fight. They would have struggled against the police in order to remain, or not to go back to Turkey at the very least. And so it's a real tragedy that refugees like this are being shifted back as if they were like packets of products or something to a country that has no human rights record, that isn't being condemned by the UN for its treatment of the Kurds and its own people, and that is now swamped is the wrong word, it's a Thatcherite word, but overcrowded with 3 million Syrian refugees, and the rest of Europe, in particularly countries like this, have not taken any refugees in terms of giving them support and giving them shelter and letting them go to school and helping them find a job and start a new life. So the ones I did meet were based in 2 camps called LNAs, which is out on an industrial site at the edge of Athens, and the other in the old airport. They built a brand new airport for the Olympics there a number of years ago, and the old airport terminal remains intact. I have very good footage on my camera here of it, but I haven't had time since I came back to put it onto a gadget so I could show it to you and to edit it down. But it's really extraordinary to go into an airport terminal and see nothing but a sea of tents, just tents everywhere. There's about 350 tents, about 3,500 refugees, and unlike what you described there, 90% men and boys, this is entire families of men, women and children, and lots of small babies, and lots of heavily pregnant women. In the airport terminal, they're all from Afghanistan, and many of them come from the border near Iran, and are of a particular tribe, and I can't remember the name, but they look like Mongolians, and apparently suffer a lot of racism, both in their own country